Hi everyone, welcome to the session today. Today we are going to discuss about the important topic in a computer network which is called as a error detection. So let us go into a small introduction of ISO OSI model. So here when we are considering the ISO OSI model, it is called as a conceptual model. So it is created by the International Organization for Standardization. It is a standard protocol through which the data can be transferred from one network to the other network. So when transferring the data from one network to the other network, all these 7 layers will be a part for communication. So coming to the basic, and it is going to be the lower level of the OSI model, which is called as a physical layer. So here the physical layer is going to play a major role by transferring the data as a bytes or bit streams from source to the destination. So the major part of the physical layer is transferring the data from one network to the other network. So the second layer is called as a data link layer. Here this layer is going to take care of the data framing, and it is going to transfer the data in an error-free manner from source to the destination. So the third layer is called as a network layer. The network layer is responsible for logical addressing of the data, and it is also used for routing the data from source to destination. So the fourth layer is called as a transport layer. This layer is going to handle the data, and it is going to transfer the data from source to the destination with the help of either connection oriented protocol or non connection oriented protocol. So here for using the connection oriented protocol, it is going to transfer using the TCP IP. So TCP means it is called as a transmission control protocol, which is a connection oriented methodology to transfer the data. So the other thing is called as a non-connected data transfer, through which it can be transferred using a UDP protocol. So the fifth layer is called as a session layer. This layer is responsible for managing the sessions between the two systems. So the next layer is called as a presentation layer. The presentation layer is going to take care of how the data are going to be encrypted and decrypted, or the compression and decompression techniques will be taken care by the presentation layer. So the next and the last layer of OSI model is called as the application layer. So the application layer is used for end user request or specification. So we are going to discuss about the two layers in a brief manner. The first one is called as a physical layer, and the second one is called as a data link layer. Since the error correction or error detection can be done only with the help of a data link layer over here. So before going to the data link layer, let us see a short expansion of what is a physical layer and how it looks like. So the physical layer, the main functionality of a physical layer is to transmit the individual bits. So in data link layer, the frames will be converted from the data frames will be converted to the bits while transferring through the physical layer. So here this is going to be the lowest layer of the OSI model. So the major use of the physical layer is it is going to provide, or it is going to establish the connection between the two systems for transferring. It maintains the transfer and then it deactivates the connection while after completing the communication. So it is going to transfer the data as a mechanical, electrical or procedural network interface specification. So this is the diagrammatic representation. The data will be collected from the data link layer and it will be transferred to the physical layer. In the physical layer, the data will be converted into zeros and ones, and these zeros and ones called as the bits will be transferred through the transmission medium to the source, or from the source to the destination. So this is how the data will be transferred from the source to the destination. So the data will be in the forms of ones or zeros. So the next layer is called as a data link layer. So data link layer is going to ensure the error-free transfer between the two adjacent nodes. So here it also does the work of framing, error detection or correction, and flow control. So the certain examples of the data link layers are switches, Ethernets, etc. So coming into the error detection, when the data are going to be transferred from one system to the other system through a channel or through a medium. Whenever the data transfer from one system to the other point, that is one point to the other point, it may be subjected to unpredictable changes. These unpredictable changes are called as a inference. So this interference means it is called as a unwanted noise while transferring the data. So this interference will change the shape of the signals, which means the signals can be converted from 1 to 0 or from 0 to 1. So these change is called as errors. So we are going to use a error detection technique to solve this. Basically there are two types of error we have in data transmission. So the first one is called as a single bit error and the second one is called as a burst error. So the name says that single bit error in the sense only one bit will be transferred either from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 0 while transferring. So that is called as a single bit error. So the term which means the data is transferred. Okay, so this is the data which is going to be transferred from source to the destination. So while transferring through a channel or through a medium, so the data which is 0 is that is interference and the noise have been changed the 0 to 1. So this is called as a inference and it is called as a single bit error. So the data is changed from 0 to 1 when there is a transfer. At the receiving side, the corrupted bit will be inserted in the data. So this is called as a single bit error. So next comes about the burst error. So burst error means two or more datas will be changed while transferring the datas. So this is called as a burst error. So when we are going to transfer 8 bits, the length of the burst error can be 2 or more. So here when you are looking at the example over here, so while sending, the sender send the value as 0, 1 and 1, 0. Here all these 4 datas are corrupted and it has been changed the value of 0 to 1 and 1 to 0 in all the places. So when there are 2 or more bits in the data set, then the error can be called as a burst error. So coming to the technique that we are going to use in the error detection mechanism. Basically there are 4 types of methodology that we can identify the error. So first is called as a single parity check. Second one is called as a 2-dimensional parity check. Third one is called checksum and the fourth one is called as a cyclic redundancy check. So when we are considering now, we are mostly using the cyclic redundancy check to identify the errors in the transmission. So coming to the single parity check. So single parity check is a simple mechanism and it is an inexpensive method where the data will be checked, okay, while transferring. So when this technique is going to be incorporated, we are going to create a bit called as a redundant bit. So when the data is going to have, we are going to count the number of ones which is present in the data set. Okay, so when the data is going to be transferred, the number of ones is calculated. Okay, if the number of ones in the data is odd, then we are going to append the value 1 at the end of the data. Okay, so the second one is if we are going to find the number of ones in the data which we are going to transfer consists of an even number of ones, then we are going to append 0 at the end of the data unit. At the receiving side, the same process will be verified. So consider an example. We have 1 0 0 1 0 0 1. So this is my original data unit. So I am counting the number of ones in the original data unit. So 1, 2 and 3. So I have odd number of ones. So which means that if I have odd number of 1, I have to append the value 1 at the end of the data what I am going to transfer. So this is called as a parity bit. So I am going to append the parity bit at the end of the original data unit before the data is going to be transmitted. So this is called as a single parity check. So it has certain drawbacks. So the drawbacks of single parity check is it can only detect the single bit error. So if two or more bit consist of an interference or the data are corrupted, then it cannot be identified with the help of a single parity check. So this is the major difficulty we are facing here. So when we are considering the original data, so here while checking, this is our original data and this one is called as a parity bit. So when we are considering the datas over here, so here you have only one odd bit. So when we have one odd bit for transmission, then we will be adding the parity value as 1 at the end. So when doing this, when the data is transferred from the sender to the receiver. So while transmission, there is a 2 bits are corrupted. So let us check here. The bits which is corrupted are 1 and 1. Okay, so the bits which is corrupted are, this bit is corrupted from 0 to 1 and this bit has been changed from 0 to 1. So at this moment, what happened is, when the receiver side is calculating the number of odd ones, it matches with the parity value. So because of this, the bits cannot be identified over here. Okay, so this is called as a 2-bit error, which cannot be identified with the help of a single parity check. So this is a working methodology of the single parity bit. So when we are going to send the data from the sender to the receiver, we are using a single parity check, we are transferring the data. So before transmission, we use it to compute the parity bit. So when considering the parity bit, we are going to take the number of odd ones or evens one which is present in the original data. So while calculating, this original data consists of odd ones, 5 ones. So because of that, we are going to append the value 1 at the end of the original data. So after adding the parity bit, we are going to transmit the data. Okay, so this original data is going to be transmitted to the receiver and the receiver will be again checking with the parity value, either it matches with the parity bit which it has. So if it matches, then the receiver will accept the data. If it does not matches, it rejects the data. So this is the working methodology of a single parity bit. So now we are going to discuss about a two-dimensional parity check. So two-dimensional parity check means we are taking a original data in the size of a blocks. So the blocks are considered, and here when transferring the data, we are going to check the values of two-dimensional parities. So here there are 4 rows of data. Actually there are 3 rows of data over here. Actually, when we are considering the example of a two-dimensional parity check, the parity values will be taken in row wise and also it will be taken column wise. Okay, so when transferring the data, we have to identify both the row parities and also column parities before transferring the data. So when we are considering the row 1, we are going to count the number of ones here. So until this, it is called as a original data. Okay, so when considering the data as number of ones, so here the number of ones are 3. So it is called as an odd parity. So odd parity means we have to append 1 at the end of the data set. So again we are considering the row 2. So when we are considering the row 2, you have 5 ones. So when you have 5 ones, you have to add 1 at the end of the data. That is called as a parity bit. The row 3 will be taken. So row 3, when we are considering the row 3, you have 4 number of ones. So it is a even parity. When we are having an even parity, you have to append the value 0 at the end. In the same way, you have to identify the column values. So column parity. So when we are considering the first column, you have 3 ones. So which is an odd parity. So the value will be given as 1. When we are considering the row 2, all the values you have it as 0. So because of that, you are appending the value 0 at the end. So when we are considering the third column, you have all 3 ones. So because of that, you will be adding the parity value as 1 at the end. So this is how the whole row parity and column parity has to be identified before transferring the data. So there are certain limitations in two-dimensional parity check. So it cannot be used to detect the 4-bit errors or more. So this is the major disadvantage what we face in the 2D parity. So two-dimensional parity, where it consists of rows and column parity checks. So if the error values are more than 4 or 5, then the data cannot be identified. That is, the errors cannot be identified. So this is the major drawback that we have with the two-dimensional parity check. Coming to the checksum. So checksum is an error detection technique that can be applied to the message of any length. But here this checksum is used only at network layer and transport layer, where it cannot be incorporated at physical layer and data link layer. So the example of the checksum is, so we are taking 4-bit numbers that is going to be transferred from source to destination. So let us assume a number which consists of 4 values. So here the values which I have taken is 7, 11, 12, 0 and 6. So now I am going to check the values, that is I am going to add all these values and append the sum at the end of the data before transmission. So when we are doing this, so when we are calculating the sum value for all these, I got it as 36. So before transferring the data, I have added the last value as sum of the datas. Okay, so that is called 36. The same will be checked at the receiver side and it will be verified for its correctness. So this is called as a checksum. And the last one is called as a cyclic redundancy check. So cyclic redundancy check is a method for detecting the accidental changes or errors. So this will be verified with the help of a CRC, which is called as a polynomial method. So this polynomial method will be used at same sender and receiver side. So for an example, let us consider the polynomial value. So here the polynomial value is given as x power 3 plus x plus 1. So we have to generate the key value. While considering the key value, you have x power 3 which is taken as 1 and the next value is x power 2. Here x power 2 is not present. So because of that, the key value for that is 0 and x value is present. Because of that, we are giving the value as 1 and the last value is 1. Because of that, we have given the value as 1. So this is how we have to generate the polynomial values from the given formulas. So another example is x power 2 plus 1. So when you are considering the x power 2 plus 1, so we will be having the value as, the key value as 1, 0 and 1. Because 1 is given for x power 2 plus x value is not there, so we are giving the value as 0 plus the last value is given as 1. So the key value for the second example is 101. The transmission and receptions of data. So what will be done at the sender side and at the receiver side, what are all the steps has to be taken care. So first at the sender side, the binary data is first augmented by adding the k minus 1 values. So key value minus 1 will be appended at the sender side. Then we are going to use a modulo 2 division method. Then we are going to append the remainder at the end of the original data what we are going to transfer. At the receiver side, same modulo 2 division will be done and if it gets the remainder as 0, the data will be accepted. If there is no 0 at the end, then the value will be discarded, assuming that the interference has been done in the data transfer. So let us have an example. The first example what we are going to discuss is no error in transmission. So here the data word that has to be sent is 100, 100. Okay, 100, 100. So here the given key value is, that is the generator polynomial is x power 3 plus x power 2 plus 1. So here the value, key value is taken as 1101. So then the key value you have it as 4. So key value minus 1 will be appended at the original data. So here when doing the original data, we are taking 100 and 100, and the last 3 0 values is the appended value of key, which is called as 4 minus 1. So 3 zeros will be added at the end. So while going to the division methodology, so here 1101 is taken as a divisor, and then we are going to take the value as 100 and 100. So when you are going for a division, you have 1 time, so 1101 is substituted. So 1 minus 1 is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0, 0 minus 1 is 0, and sorry, 0 minus 1 is 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So you have 1 triple zeros. So then what you have to do, you have to take one more time. So we are taking one more time, so 1101, again the values are identified. So 0 minus 1 is 0, 0 minus 0 is 0, and then 0 minus 1 is 1. So then we are going to the next division. So here we are taking the next 0 value for division. So in the same way the division has been done, and we have given with the reminder called 001. So this is going to be appended at the end. So what is your data set? Your data set is 100 and 100. So at the last we have appended 001 after the division methodology. So what happens at the receiver side? At the receiver side, the given value is taken, and again the common generator value is used, that is polynomial generator value is used for division. After all division methods, you have the remainder as all zeros. When you have the division, that is remainder as all zeros, then the data received consists of no error. So this is an example for no error transmission. So let us see another example. So this example we are taking it for error in transmission. So here the same data set is taken and same key is taken. So the data has been divided the same methodology what we have done before, and we got the remainder as 001 here. At the receiver side, the value which is received is 100 and it should be 100. So here one value is modified. So here the modified value is this one, which has been transferred from, which has been converted from 1 to 0. So this is a major error what we face here. So normal division methodology is used here. After completing all the division, you have a reminder called 011. So at the receiver side, when you have 011, that is non-zero values, it is called as a error in transmission. So the bit has been corrupted while transferring the data from the source to destination. So let us come to the questions. The first question which is given is, consider the cyclic redundancy check based error detection scheme which having the polynomial generator as which has the polynomial generator as x power 3 plus x plus 1. Okay, so this has been rewritten as 1011 because it does not contain the x power 2 values. The 0 value is given for that, which consists of 4 bits, so that you are going to append 3 bits at the end of the 0 to the message what we are going to transfer. So the message which we are going to transfer is 11000000. So we are taking that message and we are going to do the division. We are going to do the division. So after doing the division, we are end up with the check bit sequence called 100. So the answer of this question is 100, option C, which is 100. So let us come to the question 2. Question 2 consists of, that is, the question is, dash can detect burst error of length less than or equal to degree of the polynomial, and it can detect the burst errors that affect the odd number of bits. So the correct answer is cyclic redundancy check. Whenever we are coming across the degree of polynomials, it means that we are going to use a cyclic redundancy check. So the correct option is B, cyclic redundancy check. Coming to the question 3. A computer network uses polynomials for error checking with 8 bits as information bit and uses a polynomial generator called x power 3 plus x plus 1. Okay, then it is going to transfer the message 01, 01, 10, 11. So we need to identify which data is going to be transmitted. So for this you have to use a polynomial division. Okay, so here when we are considering the division, the message is taken as such and you have to append the values. So here 3 values is appended because the key value is 4. So 4 minus 1, 3 zeros are added at the end of the message. So after the division you have the remainder as 1, 0 and 1. So instead of this 3 0 we will be adding 1 0 1 for transmission. Okay, so then the right answer will be option C. Going to the next question. Question number 4 is the message 11001001 is going to be transferred using a CRC polynomial where it consists of the polynomial generator to be x power 3 plus 1. So here we have to identify the value. So we are going for a division. Since it consists of x power 3 plus 1, the value will be, after division, the value will be 1100100101. So this is going to be the correct answer after the polynomial division. Okay. So coming to the question 5. In question 5, we have the data is going to be transmitted and it is going to use a polynomial division called x power 4 plus x plus 1. So in the same way, the division has to be done. Okay, so we are going to append 3 values at the end because the key value is 1001. So after division, you will be given with a reminder called 011. So it will be appended at the end. So the correct answer here is option C, 110110111110. So this will be the correct answer. Thank you all. We can continue in the next session.